I was in middle school the last time the Lions won on Thanksgiving.
Oh boy.
Ooh. Yikes.
That is.
Where are we now?
I can vote now.
We are fouring. We are scoring. We are sportsing. Welcome to the Four Score Sports Podcast, your play-by-play source. I'm Christian. I'm joined with Brendan, Nick, and Spencer. And today, we're going to be talking about numerous things. First, we'll be talking about how the Denver Broncos have turned it around, and we'll go into how it could be skill, could be luck. Is Russell really back? We don't know. Then we'll go back into the NBA season, how boring it is, and how to make it exciting. And last but not least, we'll go to the NHL and see how's that coaching change for Edmonton going. They had 5 days of happiness, and that's it.
Can we afford a soundboard if that's the case?
At this point, we gotta have a soundboard.
All right. Okay, so let's get started. After week 6, the Denver Broncos were 1-5, and now they're what, 5-5 now?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Broncos country.
Let's
ride.
Who's letting Broncos country ride? That meme was so funny.
Russ is cooking. They let MVP Russ back into the building instead of So there's a running joke in Seattle. Okay. As a Niners fan, I relished in it.
Yeah.
Was Russell Wilson was absolutely horseshit at the second half of the season. He would play like a league MVP.
Yeah.
Always, weeks 1 through 8.
Yeah.
But the second week 8 through like 16 kicked in, dude looked like a third string quarterback. So I think he's kind of flipping the script here and is like actually getting it going. Now I don't think I could name you a single receiver on the Broncos besides Cortland Sutton.
Jerry Jeudy.
Okay, but what has Jerry Jeudy done this season?
He's probably played pretty good.
Who are the running backs?
Javonte Williams and Samaje Perine.
I guess I just don't want Broncos.
Yeah, guess you don't.
That's on me. But
Pulls out the top 2 running backs.
Hold on.
From the memory.
Okay, that's on me. I'll take that out. But no, I genuinely think, especially with the division they're in, has been kind of dog water. I mean, Lord knows what's going on with the Chargers. And
their defense, that's what's going on with the Chargers.
Yeah,
Let's be real. Like, their offense is scoring.
It's because they willingly employ Staley.
That is also part of it. Staley.
Which wasn't he touted for being a really good defensive head coach or defensive coordinator? I thought that's what they got him for, is because their defense has always been a mess, and now they brought in Staley to be more defensive minded. And
I just want to know, how do you have Asante Samuel Jr., Khalil Mack, and Joey Bosa on the same defense, and then you're like 4-6? But that's besides the point. So you've got the Chargers team that's not doing well. You've got a Raiders team that's trying to find their identity, and then you got Kansas City, which I'm just not going to even touch. But as a player for the Broncos, my mind is, I'm gearing up for a wild card spot. Because the AFC, in my mind, it's either you're a heavy hitter who has 1 through 4 locked in, or you're middle of the pack. And it's a dogfight for the wild card spots.
Right.
So if I'm on the Broncos right now, I'm emotionally and mentally gearing up for a wild card spot.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to play like a dog to get it. So does anybody have their upcoming schedule?
I do. Okay. They play the Browns, the Texans, the Chargers, Lions, Patriots, Chargers again, and then the Raiders.
Okay, so a good chunk of those games are very winnable. Mainly against, the Patriots?
Patriots, Chargers, Raiders. Those are all winnable games.
Mm-hmm. So at minimum, they go, 8-9?
Yeah.
That's not awful, that's just not great. I could see them sneaking in another one somewhere else. I just don't know where.
They could probably, if they could figure it out. I'm looking at the standings, and there's a few teams on there that don't really stand out to me as teams that could really give them, especially if they're playing on their top level. I think they could beat the Browns. I think they could.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could maybe beat the Texans if their defense can shut down that
Stroud
crazy offense.
Dude, Shroud is cooking.
And I mean, I guess you could realistically win all of those. You could win out, honestly. Like, these aren't incredibly hard games. A lot of these teams, I'm not necessarily thinking like, oh, these teams are great. The hardest game is going to be against the Lions, and the Lions are a really good team. Hopefully they can bounce back after Thanksgiving, but they never win on Thanksgiving, so I'll throw that game out the window for their sake.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude. It was a waxing gibbous. You weren't gonna win that
Listen,
game.
dude,
I'm sorry.
I was at
What
work
was it?
and I was like, listen, it doesn't feel like Thanksgiving. And then Packers fan comes to the line. I'm like, hey, what's the score? He's like, 23-6. I'm like, oh, who's the 23? And he goes, I'm sorry, man. And I'm like, oh, it is Thanksgiving. So that's when I finally woke up.
Bro got reminded.
Bro got reminded at work.
I feel bad for you because I woke up at like noon that day. I was just zonked, and I woke up and rolled over and I asked my brother. I was like, "Hey, how'd the game go?" And he goes, "We lost." And I was like, "Oh, so it's Thanksgiving." And I like walked away, and he fuming at me. And I was like, "Listen, man, this is what happens when you become a diehard Lions fan the way you are.
Yeah.
You live and you learn."
Yeah.
But
I was in middle school the last time the Lions won on Thanksgiving.
Oh boy.
Ooh,
Yikes.
that is.
Where are we now?
I can vote now.
I can vote now. I can drink alcohol. But I mean, if you want to look at the Broncos right now, though, getting back to the Broncos, I mean, all the games that they lost at the beginning of the season to get them to 5-5 have been, with the exception of that 70-20
bomb.
snooze fest.
Thrashing.
With the exception of that, all of those games have been within a score.
Yeah.
I think there was 1 or 2 games that was 10 points. But all of these games are within a score, and it's just if your defense could close it out, you win, right? And so I think you take these games, and if you flip a few of those scores, they're sitting at the top of their division right now. And so I think with the rest of the way that their schedule's playing out, and the teams they've already beat, namely the Chiefs and the Bills, back to back, also the Vikings, if that counts for anything.
I'll count it. I'll count it.
Count that for anything. I mean, those are some quality wins. So it's like you start building those up. You get the Browns, you get the Texans, you get the Chargers. Yeah, it's a bit going to be straining on that defense. It's been struggling this season, but you put it together. They've put it together, and now they're on a run.
Yeah, it's all there. It's just, can you execute it? And albeit, like, they did play the Chiefs twice and came out one of those games. But you also mentioned the other score is a 1-score game?
The other time they played the Chiefs, they lost by 9.
Okay.
And it was a 19-8 game.
Okay, so it's just you got to get that offense rolling at that point.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if they're rolling now, I mean, you're doing all right. So, yeah, I genuinely think that they could win a couple of these games and maybe, depending on how the AFC crumbles, win a wild card spot.
Yeah, I mean, you get a wild card spot. Honestly, I think the way that the Chiefs are looking now, especially on that, they're starting to look down. I mean, the defense has been stepping up big.
The Chiefs ain't chiefing.
The Chiefs ain't chiefing. I understand the weather really got them. The weather really got them on that last game against the Eagles. But I mean, you got to catch those passes. Devontae Smith, the drive before, made
who
a
was
better
the one
catch.
that was Butterfingers on that crucial play?
Marquez
Valdez-Scantling.
Packers legend.
MVS.
MVS.
More like MVP. Jesus.
Most valuable poopy head.
Clearly, dude.
Literally.
How do you actually have sticks of Butterfrand? You catch that, you win that
That's
game.
in
that
his
wasn't the
hands.
only drop.
You don't necessarily win the game, but you pretty much set yourself up to win the game.
Yeah, but we all know that Chiefs defense can make a good push.
But we needed 3.
But my point is like that's anybody's
but
game.
with like well over 2 minutes.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like that's anybody's game at that point.
Yeah.
Rather than you lose it there. So going back to the Broncos, I think they make a good push if they really feel like they've sorted themselves out. Going on to, we wanted to talk about whether that's a luck on their side or if it's skill. And I think there's more teams that applies to in the NFL. I think the Broncos have a bit of skill if they beat the Chiefs and Bills back to back. I mean, there's no fluke there.
Those are 2 very big statements. Saying we're here to play. It took us a while, but yeah, we're here to play.
As a avid Josh Allen fan, my favorite,
Right.
pardon my French, my favorite Make-A-Wish child has been Make-A-Wishing lately. Dude has been playing down to his competition so bad lately. It's absolutely horrendous in my mind to see. Yeah, he's leading the NFL in touchdowns, but he's also leading in turnovers. And I think they're one of the teams you want to consider on my new favorite term. I'm going to coin it here, probably not my own term here, is fraud watch. I'm putting the Bills on top of fraud watch here.
Yeah.
Because they start off strong and then they just crumble like bricks. And I think the Broncos are on the other side of that, where they just peak at the right moment. Now, other teams, y'all may disagree with me here or agree with me. I'd love your opinions. Is the Cowboys and the Dolphins are first to come to mind, and they do both play each other on Christmas Eve.
The Lions, I think we were also talking
Lions,
about.
yeah.
I do think we could put the Lions. So it's like, whether I want to gauge my other hosts' opinions, those knowledgeable in the ball and not.
Yeah. No.
What are we thinking?
I mean, you really have to look at the whole fact. You got to look at the teams that they're beating, because you see all these other 8-7 or 8-7-6 win teams. What teams are they beating? You look at the Cowboys, my favorite team to pick on. They haven't beat a team with a winning record yet. They always crumble against teams with a winning record, and the teams they're blowing out by 20 plus. I was telling y'all earlier, the Commanders. The Commanders, the Giants, and the Rams. There's a few others in there that I can't think off the top of my head. But I mean, you're not beating these. These aren't teams you write home about. These aren't wins you write home about. And on top of that, I saw a tweet earlier that's like, you're down bad and you need to fix your ego when you're throwing for 20 plus yards with 2 minutes left and you're beating the other team by 30 points. Mm-hmm. It's like, what are you doing throwing the ball 40 yards? Really? Yeah. Like, there's no point to throw the ball 40 yards. Mm-mm. So it's just like, some of these, these wins look really good. Yeah. To beat a team 45-10, but when you really look at it, you're beating the Giants, who are on Danny DeVito's taller brother. Like, it's just like, what do you like? I mean, what else do you want me to say? I forgot he was playing. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, like, it's just
the Italian stallion over here,
Ben DiNucci.
And if I could I just need a little bit more information. So, Russell Wilson being coached by Sean Payton, what's that receiving core looking like? And that defense isn't that bad either.
No, years ago. The defense isn't that bad. The defense just needs to be consistent, which is their problem. They've never been consistent.
Certified Nathaniel Hackett moment.
They're receiving.
Cortland Sutton.
For
so underrated.
Cortland Sutton.
So underrated.
Who's good?
They have Jerry
Jeudy, who's very hit or miss.
Isn't there? Wait.
So
Denzel Mims, is that a name?
Marvin
Mims, the rookie.
Denzel was on the Jets, so you're not.
They also have Adam Troutman, the GOAT.
Right.
That's
your
almost
GOAT, maybe. But
that's almost as good as Van Valkenburg. Exactly.
Van Valkenburg, but
Marvin Mims. Sorry.
Yeah,
I want to get.
That's the guy.
I want to put him on a T-shirt.
So,
on a T-shirt.
Well, besides that, like, the point I was going to bring is that Russell Wilson's only been there for a full season. If I'm not mistaken,
it's about a season and a half now.
A season and a half now. So, like, maybe they're just trying to find their identity, their culture.
It also
under Sean Payton.
Yeah, Sean Payton's only been there a year.
Yeah,
or this year.
Yeah.
Nathaniel Hackett, with all disrespect, was dog shit for that franchise.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So, and just I feel like everyone was too quick to judge that decision to bring in Payton, and Wilson, and just we kind of just threw two big names in there and be like, okay, let's see what happens. This is Schrodinger's football team. So
pretty much.
I'm calling the Commanders that from now on. It's
football. But no, like I have a feeling like it takes more than 17 weeks to, at least in football, more than 17 weeks to find the chemistry that they can find and the structure that they can build.
I mean, yeah.
And how they use them.
Well, you're not wrong with that. That's what preseason is for. That's what OTAs are for.
That's 3 games.
Yeah, like,
OTAs go all the way back to May or June.
My best friend is a Seahawks fan, and he grew up watching Russell Wilson every single Sunday for his entire life. And he said, finally, Russell Wilson is finally looking like Russell Wilson again. Like he has the highest completions percentage
it's true.
of his entire career right now. Now I don't know if it's sustainable. Right now he's at 69% completion percentage. Nice. And then he has
Nice.
more
Nice.
touchdowns right now than he did all of last season, and he still got a few weeks to go.
Doesn't he have the best TD to interception ratio?
19 to
right
4.
now?
Probably in the last few weeks.
And 19 to 4 touchdown interception ratio.
That's not too bad.
And I think it
That's
just
really
heavily
good.
relies on Russ, and he's finally looking good. I think it's both Russell finally getting it together as well as the coaching changes that they've made.
Yeah, I personally think like this right now, it's skill. It just took a really long time.
So now the question I beg is, who won that trade
What was the trade?
for Seattle?
It
I don't
was
even remember the trade.
It was
Fant?
Drew Lock and Noah Fant, and
Well, and considering Drew Lock is
First-
somewhere in the.
who were the
Canadian
first round picks
football
again?
team.
What wasn't one of the first round picks someone really damn good?
wasn't it Najiba?
Jackson Smith. Jigba.
Hold on.
Somebody do the
Look
math.
that up.
Jamie, pull that up right now.
But I mean, really quick while Brendan looks that up, the team as a whole is really good, and that's something we said going into the season. Everyone was like, "Yeah, this Broncos team is going to be competing for that first spot in the division, assuming the other two teams fall apart, which they have." So I mean, they're right where they should have been based on the beginning of the season.
Right.
Slow start, new coach. It's all expected,
Mhm.
but the fact that they were getting ready to start selling to the team. Like selling, I think they were gonna. There was a lot of trade rumors about Patrick Surtain.
PS2 was
There
going
was-
to go up, and the Niners, I can tell you as a Niners fan, Niners fans were drooling over the fact that PS2 might have hit the trade market.
Yeah, I mean, so were Eagles fans, to be completely
I got the trade
honest. I
details,
mean,
by the way.
but yeah, I mean, it just going off of that, like that, the team is good. The team is good all the way through. But let's hear the trade.
Yeah, let's get those trade
So yeah,
details.
they got Noah Fant, Drew Lock. The picks turned into the 2022 first round pick was Charles Cross. The second round
Cool.
pick was Boye Mafe. The 2022 fifth round pick was Tyreek Smith. I don't know who the hell that is, to be honest. The 2023 first round pick was Devon Witherspoon. And
Ooh,
the second round pick
Bro.
was Derek Hall. I think the
Devon
Seahawks won the
Witherspoon
trade
has been getting-
anyways.
Witherspoon's been getting
I'd rather
cooked,
have
sorry.
Witherspoon, Cross, Fant than Russell every
I mean, I will say, I do believe Seattle has been in a better position than Denver has been the last couple of games and last season or two. But depending on where playoff seeding lies, I low-key think Denver might start. Just a tad. But who knows?
I think it's kind of like, I hate bringing up the Lions again, but it's like the Goff for Stafford trade. If the Broncos manage to do anything, like win a ring with Russ, then I think both sides win.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But also, let's be completely honest. Geno Smith is a bum right now.
Definitely.
Geno Smith is not replacing Russell Wilson well. So it's like, imagine Russell Wilson with DK, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba with Kenneth Walker. Like, that offense would be ridiculous. Like, I mean,
He's throwing for 4,500 yards.
he's throwing. He could probably
Easily.
get damn close to 5,000 yards.
Yep.
Especially if he's throwing like these completion percentage and this touchdown interception ratio.
Yeah.
They would clear the 49ers easily for best team in that division. Let's
I
be real.
I wouldn't
mean,
know about
the thing
that.
that's slacking on for the
Metcalf did just get locked down like a barnyard in the...
yeah, but if you have 3 number 1 potential receivers, you don't have 3 number 1 quarterbacks. No team has 3 number 1 quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think most teams don't even have 2 number 1 quarterbacks.
Yeah, but you also have to take into consideration...
There's only like 2 or 3 teams that
No,
have
no, no.
enough.
You also have to take into consideration that O-line.
Well, with Russell Wilson, you get more scrambling ability.
No, I know he'll get more scrambling, but this is an older Russell Wilson. Keep that in mind. I don't
I don't
think I've
know
seen,
what his rushing
I don't
stats
think
is.
I've seen him. I proved earlier I do not watch Broncos ball, but
I does not watch Broncos well.
I don't think he's been scrambling as much as he did in Seattle.
Yeah, he's also
Especially-
hasn't he been injured a little bit?
especially towards like the end of his tenure with Seattle, playing the Niners, dude was getting eaten alive like every play.
Let me see what
That
his
Seattle
rushing-
O-line is not where it needs to be. People can talk about it all the time. Oh my God, Jason Peters, yada, yada, yada. Jason Peters is a living fossil on that offensive line, and I could not name a single other player on that offensive line.
So right now, Russell Wilson has 42 carries for 232 yards with 5.5 average yards per carry, which is more than a significant portion of his career at this point. Obviously, he's only played 10 games, so let him play a full 16, 17 game season, and we'll see if he can put it back.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, obviously, we do have to see where that trade pans out. So
yeah,
that's a very long term. When Russ retires, we revisit this.
Yeah.
When Russ has cooked.
Yeah.
When he has cooked.
Do we want to bring up other teams we think are more on the skill side than?
Well, what else is there? There's nothing really else.
There's really
else like the
frauds, but it's kind of hard to pick out.
I mean, if we could talk about teams that are more skilled that just aren't necessarily playing to that level, because there's a few teams that I could think of.
New York first come off my mind. I think New York's good.
Which New York team?
The green one.
Oh, the Jets?
The one that actually...
one that's... Okay, well... I mean, the Giants at the beginning of the season, if they have Daniel Jones healthy, and that Daniel Jones from last season with that upgraded...
With Saquon.
Saquon and Darren Waller, I mean, not an awful offense.
Again, on paper, that looks great, but where are they now? They're fighting for a top 5 pick. Daniel Jones is injured,
and
is Barkley
Saquon's carrying, but he's
questionable
every game.
He's gonna get a hernia from carrying that team so damn bad.
Yeah. Bro's made of glass.
Bro's literally gonna have the Derrick Henry effect, where he just peters himself out because he's getting 50 carries a game pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah, no. So that New York, no, I'm talking the Jets, because I genuinely believe, and I was having this conversation with Christian earlier today. You put Aaron Rodgers in the spot they're in now, they win most of those games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I as a avid Robert Saleh supporter, I loved him when he was on the Niners. I want to know what that man is smoking to the point where he kept Zach Wilson in that long, and that Boyle was a good starting quarterback over Trevor Siemian, who has proved himself to be a journeyman, yes, but has more starting experience. I'm not trusting a man with the last name Boyle to start on my football franchise.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, if you want to look at another team that's skilled but hasn't quite really converted, the team that I'm kind of thinking about right now is the Vikings. I think that team is really good, really talented. I mean, they just traded for another pretty solid core. I mean, hasn't really played much, but he's been playing really good when he has been playing. But like they were really bad to start the season. Like they were like 0-4 to start the season.
They were 1-4 at one point.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand, because you have probably the best wide receiver in football, if I go out on a limb and say it.
Yeah.
And Kirk O'Chain's, playing like a madman, actually having a really good season, and you lose those games. The point differential's not there. What was going wrong? You remove Jay Jettas, and then they start playing well. Addison starts on a tear.
Addison, and then, I mean, you have...
Is it Addison or Madison? Or am I tripping?
They have both. Addison.
Okay,
Addison's
Addison.
the receiver, Madison's the running back.
Okay, they gotta stop doing that. It's tripping me up.
It is. But they also have T.J. Hawkinson, one of the best tight ends in football. Bro, literally absolutely torches defenses. No safety can cover him.
Any given Sunday.
It's over.
In my opinion, top 3 tight end right now.
I would say he's the number 1 tight end right now.
I'd say for fantasy reasons, I say he's definitely up like top 2 behind Kelsey, because Kelsey just is a points machine.
Fumbles the ball, can't catch.
That was that last game. That was that one game where it's cold as shit and Kansas City doesn't know what to do. Go Birds! Get out of here. Anyways, but I say Hawkinson is top 2 in fantasy, and I'd say top 3 overall, because I don't know how well he blocks. Obviously,
he blocks. I mean, he's more for his hands. He's no Goddard.
He's no Goddard, no Kittle.
Mr. Yogurt.
Mr. Dallas Yogurt.
Goddard's one of the best blocking tight ends. He's following in the footsteps of the great Zach Ertz.
So that's another great example you can use. My thing is, I value tight ends on both sides. Like, everybody's like, oh my god, they can catch so great. Mark Andrews is so great at catching. Travis Kelce is so great at catching. But I'm like, but the whole point of a tight end is to be that split position, is to be able to good block. And I want Hawkinson to have that other side of the ball.
What about George Harrison, Mr. Kittle, man?
Greg Kittle? Gregory Kittle. Greg Kittle. George is an amazing blocker. He just doesn't... It's because we were, for the longest time, and we still kind of are, a run-first team. especially now with CMC there, he doesn't get as many looks.
The robot.
But
Mr. Robot.
But the last couple of games, he's been 3 catches, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's absurd. So, getting back on topic, because I get derailed a little bit.
Yeah.
You gotta stop letting me do that. I think the Vikings, with the pieces they have, if Kirk is back, I think they do amazing. I think they can continue. But I want to see what the Pastronaut can do for this team.
Yeah.
Do we want to go to Fraud Watch? Do we want to talk about the teams that are doo-doo water when playing actually good franchises?
Dallas.
I'd just say for the teams that aren't really, the other 2 teams that came to my mind were the Chargers and the Bills, where they just have so much talent and they're just not performing. Same stuff, same reasons.
I mean, yeah, the Chargers definitely need to work on that defensive front. Not even defensive front,
and coaching
defense
too.
in general. Yeah, Staley needs to go, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Herbert's getting shafted.
Yeah.
It's
Herbert can't even. He doesn't have time to throw the ball to his amazing receivers.
and they got in Buffalo.
They need to start relying on Eckler more. It's killing my fantasy.
Eckler's washed.
Bro.
Sorry.
Okay, relax.
Wow.
He's like what, 28?
He's beating the
Fan the
bro. He's
flames
beating
there.
the washed allegations.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I saw him live
Austin
against Detroit
Eckler
the other day.
is
Please.
washed.
I just need him to have one more solid season. That's all I need.
One more solid season.
I just need one more.
Bro is begging for 6 more games of mediocrity at this
Okay,
rate.
but like really quick, a team that should not be doing as good as they are, the Baltimore Ravens. I don't get why they're that good.
And I don't understand the hype about them.
It's always, I mean, they've always been defense. I mean, them and the Bears have always been defense. But like, come on.
But they did just lose Mark Andrews.
They just lost Mark
Yeah.
Andrews. I can't name a single receiver besides Odell.
He beat me to it.
Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers.
Rookie. Good rookie.
Good rookie, but like, no wide receiver one really. They lost J.K. Dobbins on the first game of the season.
Depressing.
Their whatever running back trio they've got right now is working, but like I don't know how they're
gosh.
winning games really.
I haven't heard much of Lamar, and then all of a sudden he crawls out of the woodworks to MVP chance. I'm like, what?
I'll take it. He's up
Lamar
in
is
fantasy.
playing really well right now. Yeah.
Obviously we know Dallas is Dallas. Can't beat a good team if their life depends on it. Same goes for Miami.
Talk about the Lions.
If you want to,
Please,
you're more than
please
welcome
do.
to. You understand the
See,
team better than I do.
Yeah. I do get a little worried looking at them because I feel like the Lions could easily be frauds too. I mean, lost to the Ravens, lost to the Seahawks, lost to the Packers on Thanksgiving. We don't count that one. But I mean, I really haven't seen them beat like a good team since the Chiefs on opening night, without a few weapons, first game of the season kind of thing. But I do get nervous watching this team because like I wouldn't want to say they're frauds because the offense is so good. It's so talented. There's so many weapons on there. And Jared Goff, minus last game, played pretty well. The whole season. He was in MVP talks a little bit, but
Yeah.
I think everything just rides on
Definitely.
the defense. And I don't know if you can call, a team frauds when it's just really like that one aspect of their game that's lacking. So I'm not sure. What guys' opinions on that?
No, that is true to an example because I did see them. I was fortunate enough to take my little brother to his first game. I want to say a week and a half ago.
Yep.
And they played the Chargers.
Oh, yeah.
Every play past the first drive was a touchdown for both teams. Like defense didn't exist past the first half. So I was noticing it, and I think Detroit really put a stand out because they got a 4th and goal stop, and then there was a penalty on 4th and goal that reset it, and they went to another 4th and goal. I mean, and the Chargers did score, but the fact they were out there for 8 or 9 plays on the goal line and made a good stop almost twice was pretty impressive. But through the passing game, they were just kind of getting torn apart, and obviously not having Emmanuel Mosley there has kind of hurt them, and not having Gardner Johnson for them right now.
They don't have
is kinda
Gardner
hurting them.
Johnson. I think
missed
the
him.
biggest thing is like they're not getting any pressure really at all. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson, like I know Lions fans were just begging for Brad Holmes to trade for like a new edge rusher opposite of Hutchinson. Like I would have given up a 3rd round pick for Chase Young any day of the week. That's insane. And then I know James Houston went down. And that was, supposed to be the other edge rusher opposite of Hutchinson. But, CJ Gardner-Johnson's out. Hutchinson's out. Not Hutchinson, geez. Houston's out. And it's a lot. But I think Gardner-Johnson's coming back, not soon, but before the end of the season.
Shameless plug. The Niners have averaged 5 sacks a game since that Chase Young trade. Just putting that out.
Why couldn't we trade for Chase Young? Come
Bro,
on.
what about Fabio? Don't y'all have Fabio?
Who?
Alex Anzalone.
Anzalone.
Dude, Anzalone, dog.
Dude's a dog.
Dude's a lunch pail.
What's funny is he was so
A real
ass
lunch
under
pail
Patricia's system.
It's because Patricia
so
was
good.
ass, dude. Let's be real.
Yeah, Anzalone,
Anyways.
dog.
Yeah, I think the Lions just need to clean up their act a little bit, and it'll be better for that franchise. Obviously, this is their best start since colored TV.
JFK was alive.
I wasn't gonna go that far back.
It's just, it's mind blowing.
We weren't even on the moon.
Okay.
The start is
dude.
just really mind blowing.
Bro, the Lions just have a free schedule. I'm looking at the
Yeah,
schedule.
that's true. The schedule is.
They
really
don't
free.
play one good team. Cowboys are the exception.
But we just put the Cowboys on fraud watch, so are they really good?
But like,
Lions are on fraud watch.
I'm looking at this schedule. I'm like, this is the freest schedule I've ever seen. They play like 3 top
Read off the next 5.
15. So the next 5 games:
Yes.
the Saints,
Saints.
Okay.
the Bears.
Oh.
We talked about the Broncos.
Yeah.
The Vikings.
Oh.
Cowboys. Vikings. It's like
Okay.
it's free. I mean, you see what happens when Jay Jettis comes back, but like, come on, these are not hard games.
Yeah.
None of these are hard games. I mean, except for the Broncos, we were talking about it earlier, but none of these are really.
Should
hard
it be
games.
skill? It will be a hard game.
It's gonna see which team that can't perform against winning teams wins that Cowboys versus Lions game.
Mm-hmm.
Which one's less of a fraud?
The Fraud Bowl.
The fraud bowl.
I think
fraud.
my fraud bowl is December 24th.
What is that again?
It's in Cowboys Miami.
That one's gonna be pretty
yeah,
bad. That one's gonna be pretty.
Miami will win that one for sure.
I hope. I really.
We
hope.
shall see.
Yeah.
Next.
So we'll see. Okay, next. Moving on. So, basketball sucks.
It's the most
Doo-doo.
boring thing I've ever watched.
It's okay. Look, I don't get, and this is going to sound like such an ignorant comment. How do people find basketball energetic?
Bro,
I
honestly,
get
somebody. Okay, look. I started watching when Kobe was still playing, and LeBron was kind of in his prime.
Yeah.
So that was good basketball. You had the aging legend about to retire and like new blood hitting their prime, because you had KD going crazy, you had Curry coming out of nowhere, you had Westbrook putting up MVP numbers every night, you had Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade on the same team as LeBron.
Oh, yeah.
Like teams were good, and there's an era transition, and now we're in the middle of another era transition. LeBron is getting old, he's been 21 seasons in the league. Giannis, Doncic, you don't really hear much about Trae Young anymore. Wembanyama's coming in.
About him.
So you've got new young blood coming into the league,
Yeah.
and
it
it's
looks like a dirty lollipop.
he does look. Trae Young looks like if you dropped a dum dum on the floor and you picked it up.
Hey, bro, you got changed. Just a lollipop, just lint all over.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it looks like hair and lint.
So you're in a regime change,
Yeah.
per se, and this one sucks because you went MJ and Scottie Pippen and all of them in the 90s to Kobe, Shaq, Tim Duncan. Like, you had some crazy dudes coming in the 2000s, and then you went from Duncan, Kobe to like Kawhi, LeBron. Like there's big changes, and the change we're making right now really isn't as big as it used to be.
Can I say something really quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Me too. Once you're done.
Yeah,
I might have to go off here.
Uh-oh.
I literally
about
cannot
to-
stand this Jokic playstyle.
I hate him. I hate him so much.
It's
I'm
not
sorry.
him.
Wait. You said you can't stand what?
I can't his play style.
Nikola Jokic.
Because it's literally like
it's boring.
Bro's literally like a walrus running down the thing with the ball.
Thank you.
But bro literally is like he just throws the ball up and it somehow goes in.
He's a beached whale.
Bro has a vertical of like 2 inches. And this is nothing against him. It's just the play style. I'm not a fan of calling him a super athlete. He's not athletic at all.
He's just tall.
He's just tall, and he's a very big force in the paint.
You find me another Serbian man built like that. You can't.
I mean, a lot of them are built like that.
Serbians
are huge.
Are you talking round or are you talking?
I'm talking tall.
You find me another seven.
Like
Serbians are huge.
That area, like in
7
the Balkans,
feet tall. 7 feet tall.
They breed tall people.
Okay. Besides the point, I want that beached whale off a court.
But it's just like I'm so tired of watching him just run down the court, catch the ball, toss it in the hoop, and then they run back down the other way. Like, it's boring.
I just don't like him. Mine's a little more personal than Nick's. I just don't like him.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Brendan. You were gonna say something?
Oh, I was gonna say like the whole talent thing. Like interesting. I don't feel like there's like a shortage of talent in the NBA. I think the NBA is the most talented it's ever been, actually. So like I just wanted to add that on to Spencer's thing. He was talking about, the old kind of basketball.
And let me just say something on that. If everyone's talented, no one is. Think about it.
That's true, but you also have to think about, like, this is the best of the best.
Yeah.
Like, these dudes are, like, Wembanyama is, like, not to call him a foreigner, that's a little rude. But I think he's French, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's French. Doncic is, Slovenian?
Slovenian?
I think he's Slovenian.
Mm-hmm.
Jokic is Serbian. Giannis is Greek. Like it's a
Joel Embiid's from Cameroon.
Embiid's Cameroonian.
I don't know.
Whatever the demonym is for that, we don't need to just.
But you're getting the international wave, which plays a very different style of basketball.
Those basketball games in Europe are electric.
Morocco. Have you seen those basketball games in Morocco?
Literally have fireworks.
Watch
shooting onto the court.
No, dude, watch any Balkan. Like, we were going to go back to the Balkans. Any Balkan-based basketball team.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane.
See, like, you bring up, like, how all these people are coming in from different points around the world, and, like, all this talent, like...
It's fundamental basketball. They're going back to fundamental basketball.
Yeah.
Jokic isn't flashy by any means. Doncic isn't flashy by any means. The only reason
score, that's
the only reason Giannis is flashy is because Giannis can dunk from the fucking 3-point line.
And wait, let's talk about that. I mean, these dunk contests are boring as hell because they're not doing anything cool. Remember the days when they literally had like Dwight Howard and I don't even remember
Superman or Vince Carter?
Yeah. Freaking Blake Griffin would jump over a car, like bring that bring that stuff back. Like bring back like a cool dunk contest. Like bring back something that's fun. Like nobody watches the All-Star game anymore because the dunk contest is a bunch of nobodies that they find from like playing off the bench. Like,
and nobody wants to play the dunk contest, and none of the big hitters want to do the dunk contest because they don't want to risk injury.
Yeah. It's all about that injury.
Well, like, here's the thing I was going to ask, right? Like, you bring in all this talent from all around the world, like how I was saying earlier. Wouldn't you think that it would be exciting for everyone, like, to see different teams play different styles?
I mean, yeah, but it's like, when you go back to fundamentals, like, I hated watching Tim Duncan. As much as I love to admit he's one of the greatest players of all time.
Right.
His nickname was like what? Big Fundamental.
Yeah.
Because he did nothing but sit in the goddamn paint. And that was it. It was just layups and the occasional dunk. And what would he do? He averaged fucking 20, 25
Tim
points a
Duncan
season?
wasn't even an offensive first player. Bro was the best defensive player we've ever seen.
But that's my point. It was all fundamentals. It was all basic basketball for him. And I hated watching it.
Like,
but it was so
where's
good.
The creativity?
The creativity.
It's dying. The sport. I hate to be that guy. I think basketball is dying. At least Western basketball.
This is the most basketball I've watched. I'll be honest. But remember the Bucks Suns final? Remember the passing clinic the Suns would put up?
Yeah,
that was exciting.
It's because Chris Paul was there. Chris Paul
can move the ball.
That's probably the most exciting basketball I've ever watched. And yeah, it was fun. But like,
But Chris Paul's also known as the point god for a reason, because that's what a point guard does. Point guard creates options,
a playmaker
to score. Yeah. It's not just him. But then you get guys who want to be Curry and want to chuck up 33 pointers a game.
Yeah, not everyone's Curry.
No, but Curry has redefined both the shooting guard and the point guard position to the point where they've almost flipped. Everybody wants to shoot like Curry, and it's boring as all hell because everybody just wants to chuck up half-court threes or dunk from the three-point line because you're either 7 feet tall in this weird Bosnian legend or...
Bring back Muggsy Bogues.
That's a name I haven't heard in a hot minute.
Bring back Muggsy.
By the way, he's 5'3" and playing in the NBA.
5'3"?
Yeah, bring back Isaiah Thomas too.
Oh, damn.
Wasn't he like 5'8"?
5'7" or
okay.
something.
So, basketball, in my mind, in the West, is a dying breed. And I low-key think you can kind of lump baseball into that, especially when you look into the Japanese market for baseball.
Are you saying baseball's dying?
I'm not saying baseball's dying. I'm saying I think Western baseball is starting to
get a little stale.
I would disagree.
Dude, you have to watch those Japanese games.
Well, I'm not saying I'm not comparing it, but I'm saying I think baseball's average viewership and attendance is up across the board.
Well, yeah, but it's because of the pitch clock. More casual viewers can watch. And I'm not saying baseball as a sport is dying as in it's losing people. I'm saying I watched YouTuber, a shameless plug here, I love the dude. Baseball doesn't exist. Talked about, you watch the World Baseball Classic and you look at, US versus Canada. Snooze fest outside of this absolutely shelling.
Well, because Canadian players are a bunch of plumbers and salesmen.
But that's besides the point. Then you go to Mexico versus Puerto Rico.
You know who played on Team Canada?
Freddie
on their
Freeman.
first ever year? Their first ever year in existence. Rob Thompson, the Phillies manager.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Little
factoid.
So getting back to my saying, so you watch US versus Canada versus Mexico versus Puerto Rico, or the DR versus Cuba, or or Japan versus Korea. Japan versus Korea.
Bring back steroids.
Fuck it, why not?
Remember, you just watch Barry Bonds just hit 500 home runs during the home run derby that would leave the stadium. Would go outside of the dome.
McCovey Cove.
Literally, get some splash hits.
So I mean, I'm tossing my hands up there, but I'm just saying it goes back to that thing I mentioned a couple weeks ago, where you look at other audiences from around the world, both in the West being Europe and in the East and Asia. And they're just outclassing us at our own sports. And there's this neat little Arab league that's going on for baseball right now that I think Bartolo Colon is playing in.
Yeah.
Did you see the money ball they've got? So
I haven't looked into it that much. I saw some of the players though.
It is a gold painted baseball for a single at bat. And if you score with that ball, it doubles the amount of runs that you have come in. So you could be down 10-2 and tie it with a grand slam. I think that's exciting. So I think that Western sports and
that would kill baseball. As in America, that would kill baseball.
I'm not. Well, I mean, obviously, look how great our hitters are. You get Freddie Freeman, Trey Turner. You get Acuna. These guys batting 300 a season. You put a money ball in front of their face, they're sending that to orbit.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying,
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, that's just to get them viewers, but it got people talking about that league. I think not basketball needs something like that, or baseball needs something like that, either or. I just think that
I saw something actually, speaking of basketball, making it more exciting. Get this. I saw this on TikTok. Not TikTok, Instagram. I can't remember which Instagram account this was, but it was another podcast. And they were talking about ways to make basketball more exciting. And one of the things they talked about is one game every so often has a breakable backboard.
Oh, please.
You don't know. None of the players, none of the fans know what game it is, which backboard it is. But you never know when it is. The NBA will surprise you, and then all of a sudden you just see Shaq just boom brings down the entire backboard. Imagine how cool that would be.
Wait. Are you suggesting that those backboards already in place are indestructible?
More or less.
Okay, so
they've welded them to such a way that Shaq can't break them anymore.
Yeah.
Because Shaq used to break like 4 a season, and they were like, all right, we're welding them in place now.
It's just like when hockey got rid of like the actual glass and they put more of that plexiglass, like basically plastic.
Yeah.
See-through plastic.
Yeah.
Like,
it's for safety reasons.
Because, I mean...
But we know what the actual reason was.
Well, I mean, they're just breaking these backboards and it's
just expensive.
Causing injury too.
Okay, I don't see how having a mystery game...
It would just be exciting.
Okay, but how though? Like, yeah, it's cool seeing glass shatter, but like, gameplay perspective.
I mean, gameplay doesn't really change, but the viewers are like, oh my god, maybe this is the game that gets the backboard. And you want to watch that backboard break.
Would you want your audience to... I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Would you want your audience to willingly know that there is a mystery game in the season for your team to break a backboard?
I would go
I agree with Christian.
I would go crazy.
I agree with Christian. This sounds so silly.
Oh no, this is not like a real solution.
But that's
I know.
A funny
I know.
thing
I just like to challenge that. But like,
I would have a blast waiting for that. Or better yet,
maybe if you told them
one game a year,
which day it is, but you don't know which game.
One game a year. The players know.
You just got to look up some backboard breaking.
Fans.
I've seen it.
Those are crazy.
One game a year. Fans don't know. Players do. Where they're allowed to fight each other. I'm telling
like
you,
hockey.
I'm telling you, I would watch every game of that 82 game season for the Lakers just to see LeBron put somebody in a coffin.
Just to see Anthony Davis get shattered rib cage from taking a finger.
Fuck it, dude.
Taking
I
a
don't
finger
care.
to the ear.
If that's the listen, I would much
Bro,
rather.
got a wet willy.
I would much rather the reason Anthony Davis goes down in a game is because of an actual fist fight rather than him. Ankle hurt. No, it's my jaw has been shattered. Granted, that is a very dark scenario that I do not wish upon Anthony Davis. He's my sweet
or
baby
anyone.
boy. Or anyone. Matter of fact, except Josh Giddey.
Okay.
But I find that alluring. Like I would want to watch games if that's like football. If people were allowed to fight in football, I know this always comes back to football, but I would love to see actual fights get underway because. So it's small little increment changes because this in-season tournament is not doing it. The Lakers are 4-0 in this tournament, and I couldn't give less of a shit.
Yeah,
I didn't even know.
Thank you. That's my point. It's like who actually gives a fuck?
I haven't watched more than 5 minutes.
Who else outside of this circle right now knows that the Lakers are 4-0 in the in-season?
Yeah,
and
Spencer. Let me piggyback off of everything you said. All right, the baseball, the Western baseball, the money ball, all these things. My solution to fix the NBA is it's just boring. There's so many games that don't matter. There's 4 or 5 teams in the West and the East that just fucking suck. Like no one wants to watch the Pistons and the Wizards go against each other. There's so many games. The good teams are so damn good, and the bad teams are so damn awful. That the games just don't matter, which is why I think there's 2 ways you can fix this. The first way is you have less games, and that may be bad for the game itself, the revenue, but make the games actually mean something. Damn it, we see teams resting these stars that these fans are paying money to go out and see because they're playing some bum ass team that sucks.
True.
Because there's little to no parity in the NBA. You know what team is gonna win 9 times out of 10. You have a 30-year league just bottom feeding for what seems like decades now, especially the Pistons. Like they fucking suck and have sucked. And the other way I think they could fix it is like we were talking about earlier, the good teams are really good, bad teams are really bad, is that they're getting into this is they need to expand. Go to 32 teams. Spread out the talent. Make it a bit more interesting.
Okay.
Because they are at 30 teams. And also they're the only, this is a little side note, they're the only major sport aside from the MLB, which is just fucking weird, that has a soft cap, which is another reason why the super teams are so damn good. And so many games just mean nothing. Yeah, soft cap means that they can go above the cap when signing players. It's like
tax.
Basically. which is why
baseball.
you get these really good
like how
teams,
baseball
and you're
works.
like, where the fuck did they get the money to do that? You couldn't do that in the
Exactly.
NFL, in the
Taxpayer
NHL.
dollars.
Or the NHL.
Exactly,
Yeah.
which
You
is
could
like
do
another
it.
reason
NFL.
why these games are so boring. You know the Celtics are going to beat the living shit out of the Wizards and Jordan Poole. I mean,
That's
Well,
true.
let me ask a
Go for
few questions to kind of get your mind going. If you were to cut the season, how many games would you cut it, or like what is the ideal range of games to play? Because you're right, 82 games is a lot of games, especially when a lot of those games are meaningless. And also, for the expansion, wouldn't that like just dry out the talent even more? Like, wouldn't that make it more?
It would spread it out.
It would spread it out, but the expansion drafts don't give good players out. It's just
I agree.
it'll spread it more thin, in my opinion. I feel like it might spread it more thin, where you get more teams that are bad, so you get more games that are
like,
pointless to watch.
Theoretically, you're also like introducing more room for creativity. Like, how far
we're
can
getting
this
new jerseys
how far
every
can
year.
this 31st and 32nd team go with creativity? With this, I don't know what the expansion draft rules would be for an NBA team, but like, you gotta at least like give it a try to do, like, to be more creative.
Yeah, let's
true.
go with the expanding one was kind of like just another idea I throw out there.
yeah.
But yeah, the 32 makes sense. It's
I'm
a nice round number. Every other league does it, but like I said, the league is the most talented it's ever been. You see a guy on the Nets or like Mikal Bridges, who was riding the bench on the Suns, and then he comes on the Nets and he's a legit star.
Like
You
Kelly
see,
Oubre.
like who's that guy on the Spurs? Cam Thomas? Wait, I don't remember. But every time he gets
Cam's-
put out on the
Cam's
court, he just balls the fuck out. And there's players like that
Yeah.
where they just sit on the bench all game long.
Yep.
That's true.
And so yeah, I agree that the expanding would spread out the talent even more. But that was kind of the secondary idea.
How many games would you propose?
See, that's what I was gonna try to open up to you
64.
guys too. Like, how many would you think is a good number? Because like,
64.
I would say
I want you to
64.
imagine this with me, right? What is the best amount of games to where like they will actually matter? Like in the NFL season, obviously 16 is, I don't think, not enough for the NBA kind of season. But like, what is like your ideal number to where your team is going to be playing your stars every night? They're going to be doing fun shit, playing their hearts out, highlight real playoff level plays, because the games actually mean something.
Well,
but you don't want to have like not enough games.
I mean,
How
like,
many do you guys think?
I would assume, like, with 60, I would propose 62, 64 games, because, like, you have less room for error in your games. You still have time to figure out something, like, in the beginning, I don't know, 3 weeks of the season. I don't know how often NBA games are played for teams, but, like, I feel like it cuts it down just enough, just so that teams won't be dilly-dallying around with their stars. Like, maybe even less than 64, hell, maybe even 56.
Well, what I was thinking is, since there's 30 teams right now, maybe what you do. Wait, I'm just really quickly trying to figure
Also, real
out
quick,
some math
I gotta
here.
say, Cam Thomas is on the Nets. I apologize.
Yeah,
You're good.
I do not know ball.
Listen. You don't want my little brother clawing at me again for you.
Hey,
Getting a
I said
Lions
James.
player
I said
wrong.
James this time.
I know. He ripped me a new one. I was like, I didn't even say it, dude. I'm not even the Lions fan here. But
Well,
I get it.
really quick, because I wanted to put in a number for how many games. I did just a little bit of math. I would say 66 games.
Okay.
62 games would be my go-to. What you do is you play everyone in the league twice, and then you play everyone in your division a third time. I feel like that's a nice, easy,
It's
round
an
way to
easy
do
fix
it.
in my
It's
mind.
an easy fix. You play everyone twice. You get to see the entire league. The division games matter a little bit more, but at the end of the day, divisions don't matter in the NBA, and they never really have.
No,
So,
just playing crap.
but it's just like now
Just East and
you
West.
get more. But if you look at those teams in the divisions, they're more rivalry games too, like the Sixers and the Celtics, the Sixers and the Knicks, the Raptors, the Nets. They're all in the same division, so it's like that. There's a lot of competition there. Then you go into the Lakers, Warriors, Clippers, Kings, Suns, all in the same division. that's a lot of rivalry games.
There's some history there.
There's a mystery there, so it's like you play those. You get to play those
more.
And maybe introduce more overseas games like the other leagues have done, where you go abroad.
I think
you play on a battleship.
I think
they do in college.
I
think, carrier.
I think what the NFL has been doing, albeit players have bitched about the time zone change, have sold out Frankfurt Stadium, the stadium in Frankfurt, the stadium in London. They're selling out 100,000 people crowds.
Yeah,
which means obviously it is the NFL, granted, but it means they can do it, and there's
a market for it, and especially in basketball.
There's courts and baseball fields overseas. They could 100% do it.
They could do it like the Stadium Series. They just put a basketball court in the middle of a football field.
Or like what was that, Iowa?
No, I mean they do it in hockey all the time. No. Ice hockey.
I'm talking like the women's basketball.
Oh yeah, they
team.
did it in their.
They did like a
94,000
people.
Yeah, they sold it out
for women's basketball. College.
They did it for volleyball too.
Sold it out. It actually was volleyball. My bad.
And they sold it out too. Like 90,000 people.
But I'm saying it's like those overseas games attract such a large amount of people. I think you could really like show the overseas crowd, show what we're like low key missing.
Yeah.
It can act.
I think going changing locations, like the NHL I think does it really well with their Frozen Fury Stadium Series, the Winter Classics.
The Winter Classic.
Even the Field of Dreams.
It's an amazing Field of Dreams. Well, I'm just saying in hockey because that's the league that we know the most, and hockey is such an easy example because that draws in so many viewers.
They do it right.
My first ever jersey was a Stadium Series jersey. Like there's just so much revenue there and so many potential for viewership.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of like. They pick teams that are up and coming and good. I mean,
or new
because like right now,
the upcoming Winter Classic
jerseys are actual dog water. But what's new?
Still bought it.
He's still Bren still bought it.
Well, I'd still buy that. I'll still buy crap Kings jerseys.
I'll still buy that 50-50 Kings jersey, the black and gray with the logo.
So bad.
It was the worst jersey I've seen, and
it's so
Kings
bad.
history.
Yeah.
But anyways, moving on to hockey.
Yeah, moving on to hockey. Okay. Here comes our favorite segment.
Oh yeah.
Fraud watch.
Fraud watch.
Fraud watch.
Not even fraud watch, just fraud.
Woodcroft.
Period. Proven.
Okay. Despite the Oilers winning today, like 5-0 against the Capitals, who are doing actually pretty okay.
What's Ovechkin's goal watch now?
I'm not sure actually. I know he's like within like mid 80s.
I forgot that dude existed, not gonna lie.
Yeah, well, he's Ovechkin doesn't need to dominate games anymore for this Capitals team to
Isn't he like an actual fossil though? So like I can't blame him.
Ovechkin's what, 37? 38?
Absolute fossil.
He is 38.
You're in the rare range.
38, yeah. But yeah, like he hasn't been scoring as much this year. At least from what I've seen, not very much. But the Capitals are doing pretty well. However, the Oilers haven't.
Fuck the Oilers.
As a collective group, this podcast group specifically hates the Oilers. We're a mix of Kings and Knights fans here. Kings and Knight fan, but
Flyers too. Don't forget.
Yeah, and Flyers also. But you don't really have a reason, do you?
For what?
Hating the Oilers as a Flyers fan.
As a Flyers fan, not really. Only because the Kings and Flyers lineage goes on for ages. So,
yeah.
I mean, little dap up friendship.
Yeah. That trade connection we got is fantastic.
Yeah, because you didn't believe it until I sent like the link showing all of the trades.
Yeah.
Like, most of our notable guys that helped us win the cup came from the Flyers.
Richards.
Yeah.
Who else is there?
I mean, Wayne Simmons was
we gave
traded.
You Simmons.
We gave. Yeah, you.
And then
you saying we gave you Simmons as I'm not a fan of both teams.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, yeah. We got the Flyers got Simmons from LA.
No, yeah, but okay. I mean, like, what else is there to talk about? Edmonton sucks.
Edmonton's booty.
Dog water.
Edmonton
shitter.
sucks.
They had
The Devils have been underperforming.
Relegate them.
That's also true.
They are second to last in the Metro.
Devils are nothing without Hughes. Okay, and like when they got him back for like that
Hugh
New York
Jersey
Rangers
Devils.
game.
That was
The
good.
Hugh Jersey Devil. That's really
That was
that's
good.
That's a
Hugh
good.
Jersey
I'd
That's a
put
good way
that
to
on
put
a
it.
t-shirt.
I put that on a t-shirt.
Merch sale soon? Question mark.
New Jersey
But no, yeah.
Devils.
Put it on a mug.
So There's no one fix for Edmonton, is there?
Well,
You
goaltending. I mean,
You need a goalie.
That's the first
they're
big
scoring.
fix.
Okay, but I'd argue that any goaltender that's put in front of that AHL defense isn't going to save shit.
Yeah,
That's true.
but their goaltenders just aren't good. I mean, that's a start.
Darnell Nurse took a puck to the eye in warm-up today, and that's the only shot he's ever blocked.
I think
literally a traffic
the
stop.
solution is just
Throws a crossing guard.
David for Amadio, 1-for-1.
Put him in
David
the high,
for Amadio?
put him in the high vis gear.
Bro, literally.
No, so my question is,
okay,
as
go ahead.
somebody who's still relatively new to hockey, despite how much I like to rant and rave about complete bullshit topics of the sport.
Yeah.
Edmonton was a playoff team last year.
A really strong.
They've been a playoff team ever since they got McDavid. Be real.
Really good
Draisaitl.
player. You have Draisaitl and McDavid. And who's the third one? Who is there? Like they had like a.
They have Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Nugent Hopkins. I like
Guy's booty cheeks.
I forgot what I used to call him, but you've got those three.
Mm-hmm.
And as Kings fans, we obviously know why we don't like them. Last couple of years have been kind of rough in playoffs. But I just want to know, how do you go from
Vander
playoff?
Kane.
Don't you speak
Forgot about that guy.
Known gambler.
Known gambler, but hat trick merchant.
I want you to know I want to know, how do you have those pieces and go from a 40, 50, 60 win team? I'm just throwing numbers out there.
Yeah.
To this with
Let me
the same
It's-
pieces.
Go ahead, Brendan.
So I have a friend who's brand new to hockey, and I explained it to her too. So basically, they were in the playoffs, carried by McDavid, Draisaitl, two best players in the league at that time, with okay defense, traded for Ekholm, and okay goaltending. And everyone expected, okay, if they take a step back, they still have McDavid, Draisaitl. But the thing is, everything took a step back. The goaltending, thought it couldn't get worse, awful. The defense, awful. And then McDavid, Draisaitl, when they're not carrying the team like they have been, it's just the entire team just falls apart. And that's just how it's been for Edmonton. Everything took a step back this year, even the two best players in the world.
It is the most unsustainable thing that they were running with, and I'm surprised they got as far as they did, because hockey's a team sport.
Obviously.
Can't be carried by two,
Not
three
basketball.
guys.
Not basketball.
Exactly. And
But
it's about time that the production just falls over, because they're exhausted.
Exactly.
I don't, it's how do I put this from my point of view?
Mm-hmm.
You have several all-star caliber players.
Right.
Who
Two.
have repeatedly,
Well,
two is still
Maybe.
included in several.
Maybe.
Fine.
four.
Let me rephrase that for you grammar police out there.
I know what
A couple. Okay, you got a couple all-star players who've been playing at high levels. So what? It's like the first team with 200 or 300-point players in a season or something like that. It was a couple of years ago, like a year or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
Their production just falls off a cliff. Even if I understand, hockey's a team sport. I 100% understand.
Okay.
That. You have line changes, you have different goals, you have different coaching schemes. I get that. But I just want to know how you personally, with the same team around you, have such a drop in production in your prime as well.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind.
Well, here's the thing. One, McDavid had an injury this year.
Oh.
But they didn't want to sit him. It was either that they didn't want to sit him to heal, or he refused to sit. One of the two. Whatever it was, it was the wrong decision.
So it's either selfish on the team's part or selfish on his part.
Yeah. And you also have, the unsustainability of just that subpar goaltending, and then the defense is just, what is it? Nurse, Ekholm,
Bouchard,
and who?
Ekholm.
Literally, who else is who else there? Bouchard has a shot. That is it.
Bouchard.
Who is
Bouchard
this? Brett
can
Kulak? Is that a name still?
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, Brett Kulak, Vinny Desharnais, and
Matthias Ekholm.
Who the fuck?
Matthias Ekholm and Darnell Nurse. more so Ekholm.
Cody Cece.
Is Cody
Oh,
Cece
yeah.
still even on that team?
Yeah.
He is.
These are fake names, by the way. I don't believe these are real people.
Four of those 6 are AHL defensemen. Nurse is still slipping into that category because
On the first pair.
and he's on the first pair. So like you also have here's another thing.
I'm listening, yeah.
Edmonton media is horseshit. It is the worst. Well, Canadian media in general, but specifically for Edmonton. Have you seen Mark Spector's questions lately?
Not lately.
Give me some.
Okay, so I don't know what game it was, but it was like Edmonton lost, right? It was like by I think it was Florida like 5-3 or something like that. Mark Spector goes up to Connor McDavid, who is currently not playing at 100%, although he did score 2 goals that game. He would have been like, Mark Spector walked up to him and asked, "Hey Connor, would it have been better if you lost 5-4 instead of 5-3?" What fucking question is
such
that?
a bad question.
He's asked that
What?
multiple times too. He's on more than one occasion. It's like, Connor, would it have been better for you and your team to have lost by X instead of Y?
You still lose.
That's
it doesn't
such a
matter.
bad.
Yeah, like what?
I almost
what,
rather lose by 2 than 1.
What question is that? And the same thing. And this he did this same thing to Jay Woodcroft too, the former Oilers coach. He was like, but this was before Woodcroft got fired, like a game before Woodcroft
But I
got
literally would
fired.
be like, your point. What's the point of this question?
He was like this. He goes up to Jay Woodcroft. He's like, "Jay, are you you just lost to the San Jose Sharks, the 32nd team in the league, who hasn't won many, who's only won 1 game, and
Against your Philadelphia Flyers.
well, yeah, okay, whatever. but no, he's like
Sprinkle that in there.
You've lost to the 32nd team in the San Jose Sharks. You were a cup contender before the season. Now you're sitting tied with the San Jose Sharks in point. Are you worried about your job?"
Obviously. Like,
And Woodcroft gives the right answer. Like, honestly, he's like, "I'm not worried about my job. I'm worried about what I bring to the room. I'm worried about my players, blah, blah, blah." Like,
Yeah.
he gave the right answer.
He's a coach. Of course
Who
he's gonna-
asks that question? Who would ever ask that question
media
to
is-
anybody?
I want to bring this up as another topic, like another day. Is
Yeah.
sports media in general. It is some of the most asinine questions I've ever heard. I want to say it was a couple years back when the Niners were absolute dog shit.
Right.
Marquise Goodwin had just lost his like unborn son and scores like like a 70, 80-yard touchdown. Like
I do
absolute
remember that.
miracle catch, like great play.
Okay.
But I swear
I
to you,
missed
if I
that
remember
catch.
correctly, the media asked him, "How are you feeling?"
it's just like, I'm pretty sure he didn't even respond to that question.
I might be making something up, but I have a feeling that there was a player who lost somebody, and they're like, "How are you feeling in this moment?"
Yeah,
Like,
no, I've definitely seen that. Not even one time, a few times.
It's multiple times, or it's like you just lost by, or you lost by 70, or you lost by 50. How do you feel? Like, obviously, I feel like shit. I've seen LeBron walk out of interviews because these reporters are just awful.
Yeah.
Like
It's a lot more harsher in NBA and NFL media, I feel like.
and it's
But like
worse.
Canadian hockey media is just
Well, no, 100% because that's their sport.
yeah.
When you put somebody in LA or New York, dude, New York eats.
Well, New York's still pretty bad.
Eats people alive.
Their fans do.
Alive. No, media too. New York media is some of the worst I've ever seen. But they just
Or the Philadelphia media, of course.
Philly media is awful.
Philly-
I mean,
Philly in
they're
general.
funny.
I just-
They're great. But sometimes they're just really overly brutal, and they're so quick to judgment.
But that's just Philly in general. Like that's Philly. That's what they're known for, is being assholes.
No. Just if you ain't us, fuck 'em.
But yeah, it's just I want to go back to that topic at another date. Is how bad sports media is.
Yeah. But like, we're just trailing back to Edmonton here. You go on this road trip. I'm pretty sure they beat the Islanders. I mean, who can't beat the Islanders, right? You go into Florida and Tampa, back-to-back days, I think.
Wait till he finds out Tampa's in Florida. Bro.
Okay.
I know. I'm just being funny.
Playing the Panthers and the Lightning.
There you go.
You happy now?
Yes.
Playing the Panthers and the Lightning, either back-to-back or, like, alternating days. And they blow multiple leads. Like, up 2-0, 3-1, and then, like, up 3-0, and then, like, whatever it was. They can't hold it. They really can't hold it. And, like, you know, it was... Firing Woodcroft was not the solution.
Well, yeah.
I knew Woodcroft wasn't the wrong solution. I'm not even a fan of the team. Woodcroft turned that ship around, and he was only there for a full season.
Yeah, I mean, but, like, also...
And a little extra.
I mean, letting up 6 goals, 5 goals, 6 goals, and then a shutout. It's just like... What? Like, I'm sorry. Like, what is that? 16 goals? In your last 4 games?
Exactly.
Ridiculous.
So, here. This is something I heard on the SDPN, the Steve Dangle Podcast Network. And I'm pretty sure this would have changed today, but nonetheless, this is shocking. And I'll ask you guys the same question that they asked Steve and his other guy on the podcast. I forget his name. I'm sorry. But what is the Oilers' road record right now?
Oh.
Are you asking?
I'm asking you to guess.
Owen ass.
Right. They have played 19 games, and 11 of them have been on the road.
Oh. Okay. Oh wait, no, that's almost an even split. Sorry, my math is bad.
They're due for a homestand soon, but like
so you said 11 have been away?
11 are away games.
I'm gonna say they are 4-7 on the road.
Okay.
3-8.
Either you look that up or you guess, but yes, they are 3-8-0.
I have their lineup on my laptop right now.
Oh, okay. But yeah, they are 3-8-0. That is that's 6 of 22 points.
Oh.
Or excuse me, am I right on that? Yeah, 6 of 22 points. Like that is so horrid. Like actually,
that's
like
dog water.
I know our Kings are like 9-0 on the road, and like that's fantastic. But you know, like that's not even expected. 3-8-0 is not expected for anybody like in this league, except if you're San Jose. But San Jose's like,
but San Jose's on a tank bowl right now.
Yeah, San Jose's on a tank bowl. But you know, like I really don't see how firing Woodcroft would be the right reason. Like, here's the multiple fixes that they can work on. You fire Holland, their general manager, for awful roster construction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's awful.
And you fire the goaltending coach, whatever the fuck his name is.
Crucify him.
Get him out.
I mean, like, you went from having Calder finalist Stuart Skinner to... It's bad.
AHL Stuart Skinner.
AHL.
And Calvin Pickard.
Yeah.
Haven't heard
like,
that name in ages.
His last start before he played whatever game it was last year in May with Detroit.
Yeah.
And like, I don't see how like there is no one fix. You got to ship out that shitty decor. You know.
I don't know what their thought process. I don't think they really thought it through with Darnell Nurse. They saw, big name has been solid in his career.
Yeah. Can
put up points. They did not think about the fact that man cannot play defense. He's basically just a forward.
Glorified forward, right.
That can bat.
And like, here's the other thing. Like, you brought in Chris Knobloch, right? This was Rangers' former assistant, for those who don't know. Who also coached McDavid with the Erie Otters in the OHL. And let me put this on top. They brought in Connor Brown, who played with McDavid in the Erie Otters era, I guess. Are you coaching McDavid or are you coaching the team?
Really? Yeah, I mean,
like
are you building a team? Are you building a staff around McDavid or a staff around the team?
So far, it looks like McDavid, and McDavid's obviously not doing like as well as everyone would think right now. Granted, yes, he was hurt; he gets a pass, but really, you
can't expect him to carry the team every single year, every single minute of every single
exactly.
day.
And yeah, it may have looked like that, but like it like how I said earlier, it's unsustainable. You need depth scoring, you need fucking defense, and you need at least a goalie that can carry out like 80% of the remaining games that they've got left.
Yeah.
So, just front office is like running around with their heads cut off, and it's stupid. And like for us Kings fans, and Brendan as the Knights fan here, we love it. It's awesome.
It's fun to watch them crash and burn.
Yeah, and like for what personal things that Edmonton fans online did to some of my friends, let it burn. I don't care.
Yeah.
No one, and like here's the thing. They also want a goaltender. Like have you heard of the Binnington to Edmonton rumor?
Yeah. That's
probably not going to happen. Binnington's actually doing okay this year.
Yeah.
Well, more than okay. Sam Montembeault, Jake Allen, or Caden Primo, one of those three from Montreal. And like, Montembeault's a UFA coming up in the summer, and if Montembeault doesn't get traded, why would he go to Edmonton? Why?
Nobody wants. I don't think anyone really wants to go to Edmonton because they're making
or Canada for that matter.
Well, yeah. I mean, talk about the hatred towards Canadian teams.
Yeah.
But like, realistically, like, Edmonton's such a low priority place to go, and it's like I kind of like to compare it to like. This is gonna sound, my Eagles bias might come out, but this is kind of like the Dallas Cowboys scenario where it's like you either really badly want to be on their team or you are anywhere else and you just are like, I'll go anywhere else because their fans, their front office, their coaching staff, just not great overall.
No.
Yeah, they have two phenomenal hockey players.
Right.
But like everyone else is literally just trying to pray that they can sniff the success that Draisaitl and McDavid have.
Yeah.
So it's just like, why would I want to go to this team that has the most toxic environment when all the spotlight's going to be on is these two players?
Well, one of them has the personality of a stale tortilla chip, and the other one is like the pissiest man on earth.
Can't even speak English. I mean, like, it's just it's tough because, I mean, I would like to think that team. I've always been a hater of the Edmonton Oilers, like, forever, before McDavid, before Draisaitl.
Same.
I've always been just like, why are we calling them a good team? They just aren't that good. And I look at their team now, look at their team last year even. I was like, this team is not really much of a first round team. Like, that's about it. I was like, they get lucky they beat the Kings.
Yeah. And then,
then pretty rough calling.
Yeah,
right?
And then when they go, like the year before, they go into the third round and then they run into a machine of an actual contender, the Avalanche.
Yeah, that team is scary.
Like, that team is built for like a couple things and that's it. One, for having 2, maybe 3 players carry the shit out of you guys. And then
everyone else prays they can keep a lead.
Yeah. Like it's unsustainable. Like, you don't have a structure. It's very top heavy. And it's awful. So, that's just our weekly shitting on the Oilers. And
I mean, obviously. But like, taking a look, like, in the bottom 10 in the league, like, there's only 3 teams that realistically shouldn't be there. And actually,
in the bottom 3?
The bottom 10. Oilers shouldn't be bottom 10. The Ottawa Senators should not be bottom 10. New Jersey Devils should not be bottom 10.
Right.
And, I mean, the Penguins are 11, but the Penguins should not be down there, too.
Not with Karlsson.
Not with Karlsson.
Nope.
And not with a healthy Sidney Crosby. I think...
Yeah.
I mean, you look at all these teams, and you're like, what's going wrong? What can be done? We already talked about Edmonton, but it's just like some of these other teams aren't... They're lucky that Edmonton's stealing all the limelight. Because some of these teams...
Yeah.
Knocking on the door, Ottawa, what are you doing?
You brought in Tarasenko.
Your Ottawa's team is really good. I remember I was drafting in fantasy.
Yeah, bring up that lineup.
I was drafting in fantasy, and I was like, this team's good. This team's deep.
Yeah.
I mean, Brady Tkachuk, Josh Norris, Tarasenko first line. Joseph, Stutzla, Claude Giroux on the second line. Kubalik, not even going to try to pronounce this guy's name. Jarventi?
I'm sorry, maybe
Roby Jarventi. I've never heard of him.
Okay.
And then Drake Batherson.
Batherson's also really good.
And then fourth line, couldn't even tell you. But they're missing Shabbat, Pinto, Corpusalo. They're all out.
Is Corpusalo hurt? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. But then you got Jake Sanderson. Sanderson's
Martin awesome.
Zub, Churchrin, Travis Hamonic. I mean, solid players all around.
Like, you could probably fix that depth defense and you'd be, like, going for, like, half of a deep run.
Yeah. I mean, you fix that, you get your players back. I mean, I feel bad Shabbat's going to be out for a good bit, but...
Yeah. Or, like, Minnesota... Well, no, you can't really fault Minnesota. Minnesota has that cap hell they're going through, that cap crunch with those buyouts.
Yeah, they just got to let it ride.
Yeah. But no, yeah, like, all these... like, Edmonton, like, really shouldn't be down here.
Edmonton shouldn't.
But... that's what happens when you run an unsustainable structure of let these two guys carry us in a team sport. Like, is the most team sport thing you could, like, think of. If that makes any sense. But yeah.
So, I mean, thinking about it, I mean, you look at all these teams at the bottom, but also look at some of these teams at the top. I mean, Vancouver, they've just been... it's clicked.
Yeah.
I don't like Vancouver. I've never really been a fan of Vancouver.
Yeah.
Never really hated them either, though. I mean, obviously they play us plenty of times, and the Sedin twins were some of my favorite players for a while. I can't help but be happy for Vancouver finally getting something to click.
They bring in Rick Tocchet. They actually have a good defensive strategy. Like, that team was defensively... What's the word for it? They were defensively, like, handicapped, like... It was a faulty defense.
Yeah.
But, like, you make Quinn Hughes captain, and you have Elias Pettersson, who is awesome. I would kill for Elias Pettersson.
Yeah.
And JT Miller and Kuzmenko and all those other supporting pieces with a Thatcher Demko who is making saves now. That's a little harsh. But, it finally clicked for Vancouver, and I think Rick Tocchet is, like, taking, like, a good amount of credit, as he should.
Yeah, and they're, like you said, the defense is finally clicking. The goaltending is actually clicking.
Mm-hmm.
They're currently the number one team in point differential, and it's not particularly even close. They're 11 points above the second place team, which is the Boston Bruins, which are the best team in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are 11-point differential right now.
Yeah.
Like, that is ridiculously good. And I think it's really showing. Obviously, they got point machines. They finally figured out the lines.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that offense was just one click away from being really good.
Yeah.
Brock Besser found the fountain of youth. I mean, I used to really like Brock Besser. And then he fell off harder than freaking Russell Wilson. And then here we are. He's back. The team's clicking. I'm very excited for them. And, I mean, there's a few other teams that are playing much better, but, like, really it's just these
Panthers
teams.
aren't fluking. I can tell you that much. I'll tell you that for free.
Panthers are not fluking. Neither are the Stars, really, either. I thought the Stars might have been a one-hit wonder, too.
Well, Stars, like, they bring in Peter DeBoer, who's a good coach, like, but he's too stubborn sometimes, and that's what kills him in the playoffs.
Yeah. But, like, I look at the team for Dallas, and I'm like, this team is old. This team is slow. This team has nothing.
Pavelski's aged like wine, be real.
But, like, he's not quick. Tyler Sagan's not quick. Dadonov's not quick. Jamie Benn
isn't quick at all.
Jamie Benn is literally slower than a snail. Like, Matt Duchene, old. Like, Ryan Suter, old. Like, his team is just... This team is about to become a moldy piece of bread in a few, maybe like a year. So what they do, God, I don't know.
Yeah.
But thank God for Jake Ottinger, though.
Oh, dude. I would love Ottinger as a king. I know that's never going to happen, but like, sheesh.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
But
Okay, well, that wraps it up here with Fourscore Sports, your play-by-play source. Again, I'm Christian, joined with Brendan, Nick, and Spencer. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks.